Hi, guys, and welcome back to the Red Mist podcast with me, Sishadri. This is your one stop shop for everything that is Liverpool Football Club from a fan's perspective. And hopefully, you guys did enjoy the first episode where we took a look back at the previous season and then looked ahead to this upcoming season. And speaking of the upcoming season, as of about 15 minutes ago, the Premier League did release the fixture list for the 2020-2021 season, the season where Liverpool will be defending our title. Now, I'm going to go through the Liverpool fixture list in detail. See where the important games are, see what sort of permutations and combinations we're looking at, and of course we're also going to take a look at some of the other games, some of the other important games, maybe have a little bit of a talk about some of the other teams, the big ones anyway. And finally, we're just going to look ahead to the two preseason friendlies that Liverpool have confirmed that they're playing against Stuttgart and Red Bull Salzburg as well. But without further ado, let's just dive right into the main topic, the Premier League fixtures for the upcoming season. Right, so the Premier League, like I said about 15 minutes ago, has released the fixture list for the Premier League, basically for all 20 teams that are going to be fighting it out this campaign. And the league, of course, begins on September 12th. Game week 1, and on game week 1 to open the season, we are going to be facing Leeds United. Marcelo Bielsa and his charges will come down to Anfield to take on Liverpool. Obviously, a very, very spectacular encounter that would be if there were fans, but even otherwise, I think it's just going to be a pretty spectacular encounter there. And Leeds, obviously they're going to be playing attacking football. Just because they're a promoted side, they're not going to be sitting back and defending like we often see promoted sides do. They're going to be playing attacking football, and let's face it, attacking football does pay off. I mean, I remember quite early on, Brendan Rodgers and his Swansea teams did that, and then even more recently last season Sheffield United did that. So they play attacking football, they're going to do well. And hopefully Leeds United have a very, very good campaign as well. Maybe hopefully they can stay up in the Premier League, but maybe not have a good opening day. But Liverpool against Leeds United should be a pretty big spectacle. Two historic clubs there, and to start it off at Anfield, a historic venue as well. I mean, even if it had started at Elland Road, I think it would be pretty historic either way. But two very, very storied clubs, and it's just going to be a good game of football. And obviously, with all the transfer rumors, that there. When Ben White obviously played for Leeds, and obviously he's part of Brighton now, but he played for Leeds last year. And Leeds and Liverpool locked in. I mean, Leeds are the only ones who've officially made an approach for Ben White, but Liverpool's kind of been sniffing around as well. So a lot of interesting storylines. Marcelo Bielsa is quite a character. To see him in the Premier League is going to be something to watch out for. But going beyond Leeds, now we have a very, very I guess a top-heavy September. We have Chelsea and Arsenal following up on Leeds United a week apart, and so that means on the 19th we play Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, and then on the 26th we play Arsenal at Anfield again. Obviously, Chelsea game, the Chelsea game, the Arsenal games, these are going to be big, big tests. I don't expect Arsenal to play their full team in the Community Shield, but I do expect Arsenal to play their full team in the Premier League as well. So I think those two are going to be key for Liverpool. We need to get off to a good start as far as the title defense is concerned. Chelsea away is going to be a tough game. We know Chelsea have strengthened. They've got Timo Werner. They look like they're going to get Kai Havertz as well. So Hakim Ziyech has joined them, and they've already got very good youngsters like Mason Mount, Christian Pulisic. And of course, like I've said, maybe outside of this podcast, I don't know if I said it last episode, but maybe outside of this podcast, I've been saying that Chelsea, if they do make a couple of defensive signings, they're going to push Man City and Liverpool. So Chelsea will be a big, big test, our first big test, and it comes away at Stamford Bridge as well. So that's going to make the game a little bit more tougher. Now, fans are not going to be there, so maybe that makes the game slightly easier to handle. But I don't think this Liverpool squad is quite as affected by fans or no fans as much as other previous teams might have been. But Chelsea, it's going to be a big test for Frank Lampard as well, because now he's got the signings that he's wanted, and this is his first big test as a Chelsea manager. Jurgen Klopp, the defending champions, coming in, they're going to need to do well against us as well. So that should be a very, very good game to watch. Mikel Arteta, he's going to want to take as much advantage of the fact that clubs like Chelsea, clubs like especially clubs like Manchester United, they're going to be starting their season late because they've had European campaigns. So Arsenal under Mikel Arteta, they'll want to prove that the surge that we saw towards the end of the season was not just a one-off, that they actually have been making progress. So that game's not going to be easy either. They haven't made many signings. I think William Saliba has come in, but I don't really see a lot more. But maybe there's obviously rumors that Gabriel from Lille is going to come in, so that might be a difference. But Arsenal, they're a team on the rebuild, but we can't take them lightly as well. October has Aston Villa, and then we have the Merseyside derby after the international break. So the Merseyside derby, the first one of the season, is going to be at Goodison Park. So, that's just very important in terms of local rivalry. Carlo Ancelotti, obviously, now he's been there for a while now at Everton, and he'll want to prove a point. Sheffield United, as usual, following that, they're going to be tough. Dean Henderson is not there, but they did sign Aaron Ramsdale, so maybe there's a little bit of a drop off in quality as far as goalkeepers are concerned, but as a team they're still good. I would still expect them to give us a good fight, but I think at the end of the day, I think Liverpool, with the quality that we have, we should be easily getting past Sheffield United. Following that, of course, is another home game. So we've got October with 2 away games and 2 home games in quick succession, one after the other. The last home game of October is going to be against West Ham United. They struggled last year, but they do have the players to play in the Premier League who can make an impact really. And guys like Declan Rice, if he doesn't leave for Chelsea, then I think West Ham, I'm not going to say they're going to be tough, but I think we have to be on guard, I guess. I think that's the best way to put it. And we have to be generally on guard in every game, but I think teams like West Ham, they have the potential to upset you, especially guys like Mikel Antonio. And it's just, if you have an off game, they can punish you. They're that sort of thing. But if you're on your game, I think even if Liverpool's at like 80%, I think we should be able to get past West Ham pretty easily. November is our first encounter against what is likely to be the only team challenging us for the Premier League, Manchester City, and that is away to Manchester City at the Etihad Stadium. I don't know how I feel about the first game being away. I think I would have preferred a first game being home at Anfield, because I think that would allow us to set the tone. So I'm kind of iffy about that, but at the same time, I guess it's a good thing to get the away game out, and especially when we play Manchester City again later on in the season, I guess we're just gonna, let me just get the dates for you. The next time we do play Manchester City is on the 6th of February at Anfield. So by the time we play them at that point, I think the title challenge we'd sort of know if they are in the title challenge or not. And if they are, I think having a home game in February would be better. So I think there's just two ways of looking at it. Like, you can either set the tone by having the home game early, beating them, letting them know, or when the pressure is really high and they are coming to Anfield, it works both ways, I guess. So there's no real advantage. Although I personally, I guess it's just a matter of personal preference at this point. I would have liked Anfield to have been the first of the two venues, but we move. It is what it is. We have an international break after that, and then we have Leicester City. Obviously, Leicester had a very, very good run for most of last season until after restart they just collapsed completely and fell out of the Champions League spots, which honestly I didn't expect to. Like, I expected them to fall off. I expected them to drop a lot of points coming into the restart, but I just didn't expect them to drop as many as they did and completely slip out of the top four. Like, I just thought they might slip from like third to fourth, but I didn't expect them to go down beyond that. But unfortunately, they did. Proves that they do still have some ways to go before they can really call themselves an elite club. But there you go, Leicester City at home after that. And then Brighton and Hove Albion to finish off November, a trip down to the South Coast. December is going to be the infamous December run-in. Wolverhampton Wanderers, Fulham, Tottenham Hotspur, Crystal Palace, West Brom Albion, and Newcastle United. So we've got a bunch of teams that very winnable games, let's just face it. I mean, Wolves at home is winnable. Fulham away is winnable. Tottenham at home is winnable, although Jose will try to play with 11 men at the back. Crystal Palace away should be winnable, although I mean, personally, I think Selhurst Park is a little bit of a difficult place to play, but I don't know if fans will be allowed by that point. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But either way, I think Crystal Palace is a winnable game. Same with West Bromwich Albion and Newcastle United at St James's Park as well. Um, January comes in with our first fixture being on January the 2nd. We have a trip down again to the South Coast with Southampton this time. So Danny Ings will be facing his former club. Danny Ings obviously coming close to winning the Golden Boot this season. Gave Jamie Vardy quite a run for his money. Which is pretty impressive considering, Southampton's not one of the best teams and, he doesn't always have the best quality of players around him. So Danny Ings giving Jamie Vardy a run for his money is pretty cool. And as a former Liverpool player, of course, I do want to see him do well as well. On 13th, we have Burnley, and on Jan 16th, we have Manchester United. So the first of our games against our historic rivals is going to be at Anfield on January the 16th. So quite a delayed start, I guess, quite a delayed entry into the fixture list for Manchester United against Liverpool, but it is what it is. And I think personally, United they're in a weird place because they do seem to get the third place, but you look at them and you're like, that's not a team that's meant to be third place. They're meant to be lower down than that. Now, this season, I think Chelsea is going to be there in the top three. I don't think United has the ability to be in the top three. But that being said, a few results here and there, a few lucky results for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and we could be looking at United fighting for a top three spot. But I mean, they could well be fourth, though. I mean, to be fair, like they do have the ability in attack. Bruno Fernandes obviously has come in and done a lot of good for them, so they do have the ability in attack. But I just don't see them. I think Chelsea have done a much better job of bridging the gap to City and us than United have. Obviously, the United are going after Jadon Sancho, and they seem sort of hell bent on that. Although recent rumors did come out that they were looking at David Brooks as well. So I don't know where that club is going. I don't know what sort of transfer policies they have. But I mean, if this team is as is, if it stays as is, I don't think they have a real shot at top three even. Because I think Chelsea is way clear of United. Now, it obviously depends on how well Chelsea gels, and there's a lot of factors that go into determining how a team does during the course of a season. But I think Manchester United, they'll find it difficult to get into the top three. Top four is possible. I think they'll face a battle from Tottenham for the fourth spot. Maybe Leicester if they do well. Wolverhampton if they punch above their weight as well. But I personally think it'll come down to Man United, Tottenham, or Leicester for the fourth spot. But and personally, I would favor Leicester over United and Tottenham, but you never know. Especially with the Jose Mourinho side, you never know. They could just nick that fourth spot somehow. We follow that up with the return game against Tottenham Hotspur away from home, and then we have West Ham away from home. So we've got two games in London in quick succession. It's not a long journey from Liverpool to London, but if I was Liverpool, I'd just take a hotel room for the entire week pretty much and stay there. February sees us play Brighton and Hove Albion, and then of course, like I mentioned at the top of the show, we have Manchester City. Now we play Manchester City 3 days after we play Brighton, so I expect a lot of squad rotation for Brighton. There is going to be no winter break as well this season, so that's going to be an issue as well, because normally the winter break in the Premier League last season when they implemented it was in the first 2 weeks of February or the second and third week of February, whatever it was. But I don't. This season that's been scrapped, and Manchester City comes in just 3 days after Brighton. Following that, again, we have two big games. We have Leicester City away from home, so we're going down to KP Stadium to play Leicester. And then we have the return of the Merseyside derby, this time at Anfield with Everton, followed by Bramall Lane, and a trip to play against Sheffield United to end February on 27th of that month. And then we have March. March doesn't have too many fixtures, just Fulham at home, Wolves away, and Chelsea at home. So Wolves away and Chelsea at home going to be key fixtures. I think this run-in that begins with Wolves, and it's going to go on all the way, I think, till about... I think it's going to go on for about a month, a little over a month, and I'll get to that. So March 13th, we start playing Wolves. And if we're in a title challenge, I think this run-in is going to be very, very crucial. So we have March 13th, Wolverhampton. March 20th, we play Chelsea at Anfield. April 3rd, we play Arsenal at the Emirates. April 10th is Aston Villa at home, so that's kind of an easy game, I guess, on paper. Although if Villa are battling relegation by that point, like they are this season, that could turn out to be a tricky one. And then we have Leeds United away from home. So all these fixtures are right from Wolves to Leeds, which Leeds is on April 17th at Ellen Road. So Wolves to Leeds is going to be crucial to the title run in. If we can get 15 point, it out of 15 points. If we can get 15 points, then that'll be ideal. But yeah, at that point in a title race, that run in becomes crucial because every one of those fixtures is quite difficult in its own way. And I mean, you've got Wolves, Chelsea, Arsenal. They're probably fighting for a top 4/top 6 spot at that point. Aston Villa might be battling relegation. Leeds United, I don't know where they'll be. They could be mid-table. They could be battling relegation. You don't know how things are going to turn out. So that's going to be crucial as well to find out where Leeds is at that point in the season. Newcastle United at home should be an easy win after that. And then come May, we have May 1st on Labor Day. We play Manchester United. Kind of very ideal two cities which are very blue collar cities. As much as I hate Manchester United, Manchester is a lovely city, to be fair, and it is a very working class town in a way, and they've got the mills there, the textiles, I think. So it's very very industrial cities, both of these, Manchester and Liverpool. And it's kind of fitting that on Labor Day we play Manchester United away from home at Old Trafford. So that's going to be crucial again in the title race if that ever if the gap isn't too much. And then to end the season, we have a pretty decent run. We have Southampton at home, and then followed by two quick away games down in the Midlands to West Bromwich Albion and Burnley, and then we end off the season with a home game against Crystal Palace. So pretty interesting fixture list, I can't lie. The start is going to be very very crucial. 3 games against 3 good teams, 3 well-coached teams, Leeds United, Chelsea and Arsenal. And then obviously we've got the December run-in. And I haven't even mentioned the fact that all these are just the Premier League fixtures. So we have the EFL Cup or the League Cup, the Carabao Cup, that is, and then the FA Cup in between, and the Champions League as well. So the Champions League, I think, is going to run from October to December. So that's going to be quite jam-packed. There's going to be international weekends in between, and it's just this whole season, this whole truncated season, it's going to be 5 weeks shorter than what a normal Premier League season would be. So you got a lot of fixtures, and you got to sort of cram them into this window where most teams sort of end up playing one game every 3 days on average. And whether it's the cup, I think I read somewhere that if Tottenham get through the first qualifying round, I think they play. They have a schedule that goes like qualifying round, Premier League, EFL Cup. I mean the League Cup, Premier League qualifying round. So you've got 5 fixtures in like 15 days pretty much. And most teams are going to have those sort of runs. Most teams are going to have those sort of issues, and how they navigate that. I think the key to this season is just going to be staying injury free, because if there's an injury, I think the only team up right in the top that can cope up with injuries well right now, I think, is going to be Manchester City. Chelsea to some degree can, and Liverpool to some degree can. But I think Manchester City, if there are key injuries, I think they're the best place to cope up. Now, obviously, it depends on who gets injured and all of that. Like, for example, if Laporte gets injured, it's a much bigger deal than, say, if Phil Foden gets injured. So there's that. Same thing with Liverpool. If Virgil van Dijk gets injured, it's a much bigger deal than if Minamino gets injured, for example. So there's going to be a lot of rotation. There's going to be a lot of youth players used. I wouldn't be surprised if, even to begin the season, like I said, sometime during this whole monologue, that I wouldn't be surprised if Arsenal and Liverpool don't play their full teams in the Community Shield. I wouldn't be surprised if they play their reserves, if they play their second units. I mean, that's just the way it goes. And I wouldn't be surprised if all these teams do the same thing in the Cups. And I think that's what makes the Cups, I think it'll make the Cups a little more exciting this year, because I think the weaker teams will feel like, or quote unquote weaker teams on paper will feel like they have a chance. So the likes of West Ham, Everton, Sheffield, these guys are going to feel like they have a chance at winning one of the Cups, because I mean it's difficult to see teams kind of playing their full lineups in such a jam-packed fixture. fixture list. So I can understand why weaker teams will feel like they have a shot at the cups this year, especially this year more than other years, because I think other years there's a little bit of a gap sometimes afforded to teams, but I think this year most teams are going to have to play a game every 3 days pretty much, and that's going to be very, very difficult. So those are my thoughts on the Premier League fixtures for Liverpool alone. But just to sort of talk a little bit about the opening day, so Manchester United opened their season by going away to Burnley. I think they also have a tough start to the season. I think they play Chelsea, Tottenham, and Arsenal within the first 7 games. All three at home though, so that should be okay. Um, Arsenal, they take on Fulham on the opening day. Of course, they play us on the third match week. Manchester City at home to Aston Villa to open the season, and Chelsea travel down south to play Brighton. Leicester play West Brom, and Wolves play Sheffield. So that should be a pretty good game actually to watch on opening day. Now, Wolves and Chelsea will play on Monday night. Having been granted 2 days extra leave because they had to play one European game each. Um, and then just to sort of round up and just look at some important games over the course of this coming season, let's just have a gander. We have December 5th, of course, is the North London Derby, the first one between Tottenham and Arsenal. So that one's going to be at the Tottenham Stadium. The Manchester Derby follows a week later at Old Trafford with Man United against City. Arsenal take on Chelsea on Boxing Day, so that's going to be pretty intense affair. And then we have Manchester City against Man United on March 6th. So that's the return of the Manchester Derby and the return of the North London Derby a week later on March 13th as well. And on May 12th, which I think, if I'm not mistaken, is the last day of the season, or maybe the second last day. Oh, no, it's 2 game weeks before the end. So Chelsea play Arsenal on that day. So pretty intense games, all of these, derbies, a lot of, but I think this whole season is just going to be pretty intense as a whole, not just because of, and I keep using the word intense, I just realized, but it's just going to be because it's a very truncated season, because teams are going to be facing short turnarounds before games. I think one, staying injury free is going to be key to whichever team wins the Premier League, and two, I think the intensity of play will keep getting worse as the season goes on, because you've got European campaigns to deal with, you've got cup campaigns to deal with. So I think the intensity will keep going down. And I think it's just going to be a matter of, I think this season will be a true test of management for all the managers. I think player management will play a big, big part. Like I said, not just in terms of keeping them injury free, but also in terms of making sure that tactical instructions, the way they play, that's all relatively constant over the course of the 38 games. Especially, like I said, there's not much time between games, and that's just going to be key. But yeah, I mean, that's just my opinion on the fixture list. Let me know your thoughts as well. Let's see how it goes, man. Liverpool defending the title for the first time in the Premier League era, and hopefully it goes really, really well. It's very hard to retain the Premier League. Not many teams have done it, and I'm hoping Liverpool can be one of these rare teams that do actually manage to retain the title and win number 20. Just to round this podcast off, a quick word on the 2 preseason friendlies that were confirmed by Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp. So we are going to be playing Stuttgart and Salzburg as part of our preseason training in Austria. We're going to be playing Stuttgart on Saturday at 5 p.m. BST and Salzburg a couple of days later. We're going to be playing Stuttgart, so I just thought, let's just talk a little bit about them. So VfB Stuttgart, obviously, it's a club that Jurgen Klopp supported as a child, having been from near the Stuttgart area. He obviously didn't get to play for them. He ended up playing for Mainz, became manager of Mainz as well, and made his name basically at Mainz before going to Dortmund and then coming to Liverpool. But Stuttgart had a difficult 2 years ago, a difficult time 2 years ago, having been relegated from the Bundesliga. But last year they did play in the second division, the 2 Bundesliga, and they finished second, so they gained automatic promotion back. They were 10 points behind Arminia Bielefeld, who won the league, but they did get an automatic promotion, so I wouldn't say that year was bad. As far as their main players go, Nicolas Gonzalez, 14 goals, and Silas Wamagutika, who has 8 assists in the last season. And one key sort of relation to Liverpool is the fact that Nat Phillips was there on loan last year, the centre back, having made 19 appearances till he was recalled back in December, when we had a couple of injuries in the centre back area. So he was recalled. Now, some famous players have been part of Stuttgart in recent years. Benjamin Pavard, of course, the biggest one of them. He's gone to Bayern Munich. He's a World Cup winner with France as well. Once they got relegated, they had to lose a bunch of players who were, I guess, too good for playing in the second division. You know, they had Ozan Kabak, who went to Schalke, Santiago Ascasibar went to Hertha Berlin, Ron Robert Zieler went to Hanover, Christian Gentner, Emiliano Insua. Emiliano Insua, in fact, went all the way down to the United States to play for LA Galaxy. So these are good players that they lost, but they did do well. And this season, hopefully, they'll be hoping that they can stay up as well. As for our second opponents, Red Bull Salzburg, the dominant team in the Austrian league, part of the whole Red Bull family, along with RB Leipzig, Red Bull New York, and so on. So RB Salzburg won the Austrian Bundesliga and the Austrian Cup. So they did the domestic double last year. Lost in the Europa League round of 32. They were, in fact, if you guys don't remember, it seems like ages ago right now, but they were, in fact, in the same Champions League group as us, as PSG and as Napoli. So they lost in the Europa League round of 32. And, their main players before January were Erling Haaland and Takumi Minamino. They lost both of them in the middle of the season. Haaland going off to Dortmund, Minamino coming down to us. So that was a big loss for them, but they did manage to find another gem in Patson Daka, the Zambian, scoring 24 goals, finishing second in the league in that department. Pretty good team overall, but I like I said, these are preseason friendlies. I don't expect much, honestly. Their coach is Jesse Marsh, who I've actually watched Jesse Marsh's sides play, and I haven't watched Red Bull Salzburg, but I did watch a lot of. I do watch a lot of MLS at times, and I did watch his Red Bull New York team play. Now, he's always been a very good league coach. So Red Bull New York the American MLS, for those of you who don't know, they have a regular season, which is kind of like the Premier League's domestic season. You know, they have a certain number of games, teams finish, 1 to how many ever positions there are, and after that they have a playoff where the tops how many ever teams. So in the MLS at that time it was the top 6. So the top 6 would go contest the playoffs, and then the winner would get the MLS Cup. So the playoffs, obviously being a very American thing, you can see it in the NHL, the NBA, any American sports league pretty much. It's also there in the MLS. But yeah, Jesse Marsh's teams were always good in the league. They were always known as a very good regular season team, and they always fell short a little bit in the playoffs. So maybe it wasn't meant for him, but he is a good coach. They did play very attacking football, and from what I have read a little bit about RB Salzburg, they do the same thing in Austria. They play very good football. They attack. They know how to score goals, and that's never been really much of an issue for them. Obviously, last year they had the talent of Erling Haaland and Minamino there as well, but even otherwise, they've got Wang Hee-chan, Patson Daka. All these guys were quite amazing. But yeah, VfB Stuttgart and RB Salzburg, the two opponents. I don't expect much, to be honest. I don't. To be completely fair, I don't really care about the result. It's just a build up to the Community Shield, and like Jurgen Klopp said on LFC TV, the Community Shield itself is something that comes in the middle of preseason, which to me makes no sense. The season starts on September 12th, like I said, so why not keep the Community Shield on maybe like September 6th or something? But it is what it is. They've decided it, not me. Anyway, so that's just kind of my opinion. I just want the boys to get fitness. Match fitness playing in a match is obviously different from playing, just training and just doing 11 on 11 drills or 5 on 5 drills or whatever it is. So mainly I think the focus for Liverpool should be to gain fitness, to gain match fitness, crucially. Try out maybe different players, different lineups. Obviously, we've got Billy Kumetio, obviously training in the first team, the centre back. He's taller than Virgil van Dijk, which I can't believe, and he's just 17, so he's going to grow. Honestly, he looks like one of those NBA players. Like, I think if he switched sports and went to basketball, I think he would have the height to play in the NBA pretty much. Like, he'd probably play guard like Steph Curry or something. But I'm digressing off topic here. The point is, the guy's tall, and he's a centre back, so that helps. But yeah, I mean, I'll be interested to see if he plays, if guys like Harvey Elliott, Ryan Brewster, what sort of role are they going to, maybe we'll get some clues as to what sort of role these guys are going to play over this coming season, whether Brewster is going to be loaned out again or whether he's going to be back up to Roberto Firmino, maybe third choice behind Minamino as well. I don't know. It's just a matter of finding out, maybe trying to get some clues. But mainly the thing is get fit. That's the aim of these friendlies, and that's why you play these friendlies as well. But Stuttgart on Saturday and RB Leipzig a couple of days after that, August 29th, if I'm not mistaken, the RB Leipzig game. So, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. I expect wins in both games, but because it's preseason, I won't be surprised if we lost. Hopefully, we do win, though. Just saying, I don't want to jinx the team. It would be nice to go into the Community Shield with 2 wins on the trot. So that was the end of today's episode of the Red Mist podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I definitely did enjoy making the episode and looking at the fixture list in detail. Hopefully you have a great season. I think as Reds, every one of us wishes that we do manage to retain the title, and that title defense begins against Leeds at Anfield. So let's just hope for the best, right? And just to round things off, do follow us on Twitter and Instagram. So on Twitter, the handle is @RedMistPod. On Instagram, the handle is RedMistPodcast. So do follow us on there as well. And stay tuned for more episodes. And I guess have a good day, have a great weekend, stay safe, and goodbye.